Today, we're going to dig into a piece of ancient wisdom, a strategy for handling conflict that, at first, might feel totally wrong. It's a philosophy for dealing with intense pressure, especially from people in charge, and it flies in the face of our modern instinct to either fight back or just run away.
So listen to this. Leave not your place, for yielding pacifies great offenses. Now your first thought might be, wait, yielding? That sounds passive, kind of weak, right? Our gut tells us to either stand our ground and argue or get out of there. But what if this isn't about weakness at all? What if it's about a much deeper, much more powerful kind of logic? Well, that's the puzzle we're going to unpack together.
Okay, so let's set the scene. The text uses the word ruler, which sounds a bit old school, but just think of it as anyone in a position of authority who's angry with you. It could be your boss, a frustrated client, maybe even an official. It's that high-stakes, stomach-in-your-throat moment that, let's be honest, we've all been in at some point.
No, really. Think about it for a second. What's your go-to knee-jerk reaction? Do you immediately jump to defend yourself? Do you start arguing your point? Or do you just want to find the nearest exit and disappear? You see, most of our natural instincts are pure emotion, but this ancient advice points us down a completely different path.
And this is the absolute key to the whole thing, the difference between a reaction and a response. A reaction is that emotional impulse, it's automatic, and 9 times out of 10, it's like throwing gasoline on a fire. But a response, well, that's a strategic choice. It's thoughtful. It's about deliberately creating space for calm and actually putting the fire out, not making it bigger.
So the first piece of the strategy is right there in the text, leave not your place. This is the bedrock of the entire idea. And while it sounds so simple, this is the true source of your power. And I want to be clear, this is not about being a doormat. It's about becoming an immovable, unshakable rock in the middle of a storm.
So what is your place? It's not your chair, it's not your office, it's your internal center of gravity. It's your integrity, your values, your state of calm. You see, when someone else's anger is boiling over, abandoning your place means you're letting their chaos become your chaos. But staying there, that means you hold on to your self-control. And in that moment, that's the ultimate position of power.
I mean, the logic is kind of undeniable, right? We've all seen what happens when you fight fire with fire. You just get a bigger inferno. The truly logical, rational move is to simply refuse to add more fuel. By staying grounded, you deny that anger the very thing it needs to keep growing. Your reaction.
All right, now for the second part. And honestly, this is the one that trips most of us up. It's that word, yielding. Our entire culture tells us that yielding means losing, that it means giving up. But we have to completely reframe how we think about this.
We hear it our whole lives, don't we? Stand up for yourself. Don't back down. And look, there's absolutely a time and a place for that. But in the heat of the moment, with an angry authority figure, that approach can be, well, let's just say it can be a disaster. But this philosophy turns that idea on its head. Yielding here isn't surrender. It's a deliberate, powerful strategy. Think of it like a martial art, where you use your opponent's own momentum against them. Or think about a strong oak tree that snaps in a hurricane, while the flexible reed just bends and survives. This isn't about saying you're right when they're wrong. It's about saying, help me understand your concern, which totally de-escalates the situation without you giving up your position.
So look at what this kind of yielding actually does. It takes the wind right out of their sails. It pacifies and disarms them. The incredible self-control it takes to not lash back is what gives you the strategic high ground. It lets you absorb the pressure, see the situation for what it really is, and respond from a place of power, not emotional chaos. It's the difference between building a wall and building a bridge.
Okay, so this all sounds good in theory, but how do we actually do it? You know, when things get hot and confusing, how do we find our way? Well, the source material gives us this really powerful metaphor of a light to guide us through the dark. We've all felt this. When emotions are running high, it's like this thick fog just rolls in. You can't see clearly, you can't think straight. Every path seems wrong, and it is so easy to get lost in that confusion.
Or you could picture it like being lost in a dark forest. You're surrounded by obstacles, you've completely lost the trail, and that little seed of panic starts to grow. That is exactly what unresolved conflict feels like. It's disorienting. It's stressful. And this is your lantern. Your light in that dark forest is the internal foundation we've been talking about this whole time. It's your self-control, your core principles, your ability to just stay calm. That inner light is what cuts through the fog. It illuminates the path ahead, so you can navigate with wisdom instead of just reacting blindly in the dark.
This quote just sums it all up perfectly, doesn't it? Your stillness isn't a lack of action, it's the highest form of discipline. The storm of someone else's anger is going to rage, that's a given, but the goal is to refuse to let it move your foundation. Stay your ground.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this question. Just think about it. In your own life, your work, right now, where is a storm testing your foundation? And how can you use this logic of the lantern, staying in your place and yielding strategically, to not just get through it, but to actually find a clear path forward?